What is up, YouTube? So, here we go. Episode 3 of the live Jeff Talks podcast. You guys have enough light. You can see my beautiful face, my eyeballs, my cool hat. Feeling very content today. Very happy, very grateful, and excited to do this. So, without further ado, what's happening? Jeff Talks, Learning to Rise, episode 11? Wow, I've made 11 now. Geez, I'm so excited to be here and to be able to share with you guys some amazing, really inspirational type stuff. And I'm excited. I'm just going to read it to you. But yeah, today was an amazing day. I was able to, just this weekend in general was just super exciting. I was able to go volunteer for Second Harvest down at the Honda Center, and we were able to hand out food to I think 4,700 households or something like that. I think the final number was. So super grateful today. I feel very, very content. I'm just so happy to be here in this shelter, in this, my warm bed at night, and have food in the fridge. I feel very, very blessed and grateful. So yeah, let's get to it. I was going through two things that we're kind of going to talk about. I'm going to read this 2-page thing that I wrote down that Dr. Shefali had a little video on YouTube, and it was crazy inspirational, crazy motivating, and really just put things in perspective for me. And I wanted to share with y'all. And if we could just I probably will just start it off with that. And then I'll talk about it a little bit, but I definitely want to set the tone right. And then after that, I'd love, if you guys haven't heard of, I think it's pronounced Hernan Cortez. He was a Spanish captain who, the article is Hernan Cortez and the Order That Changed the New World. He's the guy that basically said, burn the ships, no retreat type thing. So he didn't give himself or his soldiers a way of retreat. And they ended up, conquering the Aztecs, and they accomplished exactly what they wanted to accomplish. So, I have a couple other little notes like that and questions. So I'll read this thing from Dr. Shefali. If you guys have not heard of her, I would highly suggest that you check her out. She is amazing. Her last name is spelled Shefali. It's Dr. Shefali. Absolutely incredible. And I'll just start reading it. So, the article basically starts out by saying, on this little video that I stumbled upon by her, it says the real corona. And then she starts by saying, I'm just going to go for it. Did you know that the outmost part of the sun is called the corona? It is usually hidden from view because of the bright light of the sun. But when we have a solar eclipse and the moon obscures the sun, it leaves behind one part that remains uneclipsed. That part is known as the corona. Just like the sun's corona, the real corona in this experience is in process, just hidden from view. The grief, the loss, the death, the sadness, the collective, unprecedented trauma of this pandemic has put out our light. We are finally, as a humanity, being forced to learn lessons that we never wanted to learn before. Above all, the virus is showing us that the only way we can thrive is if we fully understand and appreciate and revere our interconnectivity. Therefore, our ways of looking at only ourselves, our children, our families, and taking care of only our bank account and our ways of living needs to fall by the wayside. And a new path where we enter a communal sense of spirit needs to emerge. Our leadership can no longer look at Wall Street and economics, but instead fully endeavor to focus on our emotional and physical wealth. Our focus was all in the wrong places. Now we realize who is essential. Our nurses, our doctors, our grocery store workers, our custodians, our teachers. The human has been asleep in an unconscious slumber of ego for too long. The human, in the name of progress, has essentially moved away from its humanity. The virus is here to wake us up. Once we are stripped away from our labels, our identities, our definitions, now we realize that we need to move into that which is essential. The virus in our own personal lives need to be cleared out as well. We have to examine how we've been living in our own micro lives inauthentically, how we've been ruled by fear, how we've been controlled by what others think of us, how we have been mirrored in unworthiness. Culture has kept us bound in mandates that are lies that have kept us playing really inauthentic and small. It is time for us to break these chains and move into our own liberation, chain by chain, one by one, spirit to spirit, heart to heart, soul to soul. One is everyone. One is a million. That's by Dr. Shefali. Bang. So I don't know about you guys, man, but that really, really spoke to me, and it motivated me to basically record this podcast a day earlier. Usually I'm going to try to do them on Mondays, but I couldn't help but just write that down and share with you guys. And it just really kind of brings it home for me. I love the fact that she uses that analogy of Corona and the sun, and we can't even see it, right? We can't see that there's this like bright light or aura in the picture on this thing that I saw with her. It's like this aura, like this halo around the sun that we literally can't see it until a solar eclipse, until the moon is blocking our view of it. And I feel like that is so accurate to kind of what's going on right now, and it gives us an opportunity to reflect and be present. For me, it's an incredibly difficult and hard thing for me to just sit and be calm. Or it can be a really hard thing for me to just find any type of drive or motivation to get going. And this has really been an amazing opportunity for me to reevaluate where my time and energy needs to be where my time and energy needs to be. It's an incredible opportunity. And I love how she really just kind of lights the fire in me specifically. And that was incredibly motivating. So I love, gosh, my favorite part is basically where I love how she says, now we realize, who is essential. And I love how she like encourages to find, where is it? To find which is essential. Um, Once we are stripped away from our labels, our identities, our definitions, now we realize that we need to move into that which is essential. And I think for each individual person, it's really up to us to empower ourselves to find out what is essential in our life. What is essential that I put into my body nutritionally? What is essential, my physical exercise? What is essential for my relationships, what is essential at work, in my career, in my old business, new business, my finances, my home, or my renting situation. Or maybe you're not in a home, maybe you don't have any of those things right now, and you're really just kind of down and out, and you're like, this corona thing is like, I've been feeling, I guess the feeling of, I've almost felt like I've been in an eclipse my whole entire life, or I've been waiting for that one special moment that would finally motivate me enough to actually make a change, and to stop drinking and getting loaded. And more than anything, I really want to encourage those that might be struggling with something that is no longer serving them, whatever the hell that may be. If something is not serving you, whether it's drugs or alcohol, whether it's sex, whether it's money, whether it's an obsession of a certain way of thinking that, for some reason it doesn't really, you and me are all the same, right? I love how she says one is everyone, soul to soul, spirit to spirit, one by one, heart to heart. One is a million, chain by chain. We are one. So I just love that. Like, I can literally remember feeling that, like, okay, once this happens, then I'll change. Once that eclipse in my life happens, like, then I'll change. And for me, that eclipse was a moment of, the cops taking me home to my mom, and on Mother's Day, hammered, and that was my eclipse. That was my moment of clarity, where I was finally able to see something really gross. And I'm just grateful that I was willing to change that. So now, being able to have like another moment like that, I feel very, very blessed. And I'm able to put a lot of focus into this podcast. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this. So I'm trying to think. If you can, go on my website, guys, on jeff.wordpress.com, and download the other podcasts. And I'm going to set up my website so that I can receive comments. And eventually I should have it set up, but definitely like subscribe, download more podcasts. But also on my Facebook, I would love to get some messages from you guys. Just send them directly to me. Something that stood out to you with this. I'll try to put a link with the YouTube video. I'm also doing a live YouTube video right now. So I'll put a link to the actual YouTube video that Dr. Shefali did. Watch it, check it out, and I would love to hear back from you. YouTube, check it out, watch it, let's do some comments. And I think that is that. Gosh, what a beautiful day, man. It was raining this morning, and I think I woke up, just before 7. It was wet, it was cold, and I mean, it's definitely not as cold as it was when I used to live back east. Wow. It'd be like a beautiful summer day waking up like it was this morning back east. Anyways, it was kind of gloomy. I felt okay, but I just didn't really feel that motivated. And I'm tying this into something, guys. Don't worry. And I remember having a feeling of I literally don't even want to get out of bed. My bed is super comfy. I feel good. And there's nothing wrong with like feeling like I want to detach kind of and isolate from the world. And there's nothing wrong with not really wanting to put myself out there. Um, but for me, that's never really served me. That's never really, I mean, obviously, I don't get anything done, but I've never felt good or like I fulfilled my purpose for the day after I was completely unproductive. And productivity can come in all shapes and forms and thoughts and feelings. And for some reason, that just wasn't going to do it for me today. So I started to do some research. Actually, last night, I wrote that beautiful list of words, 2 pages that I wrote down that I really just wanted to share with you guys. And I also have my buddy Chad actually introduced this guy to me. Or I remember him saying something. I forgot the captain's name, but I remember him saying something along the lines of. He may have even said Napoleon. It may I don't know. It could have been Napoleon. Um, but I remember him saying like, "Burn the ships. Don't give yourself an out. Bring nothing with you, so to speak, so that you cannot give yourself any way out of like you cannot turn back. You have to continue to go forward. You have to progress. Doesn't need to be perfect. If anything, it's going to be really, really ugly. And it really reminds me of just like now and so much confusion and I'm very, very frustrated with my work. I get irritated with people now. My beautiful girlfriend, bless her heart, she is so patient with me right now, and I'm trying to love and support her in the best way that I can. I just had a conversation with my father, and it was so weird, and I don't know if anybody else can relate to this, but we want to hang out and we want to meet and still catch up and socialize. And for those of you that know a little bit of my story, I wasn't close to my dad ever. So now being sober and having that relationship healed, we're trying to grow it to the best of our ability, and slowly but surely it's blossoming and it's growing and it's blooming. And it's so weird. So it's weird because we met at Baja Fish in Costa Mesa right here off 17th Street. And, bless my dad's heart. Thank you, Dad. He offered to buy me some food. But, we didn't meet up and sit down and really talk. We met in the parking lot and he handed me the food and we talked for, maybe 10 or 12 minutes. But that was it, no hug, no high five, no handshake. We hug, just to keep that clear. We do hug. I hug my father. Anyways, but it's so weird to like walk up to a family member and just kind of be in this weird stalemate where it's like, okay, it's like more of a business transaction. And I'm not about that, dude. Like, I don't feel that at all. I can't really get on board with it. It's just it's hard right now. It's really hard, and at times it's ugly. But I'm trying to look for other means of bringing that fulfillment and joy and connection in my life. Um, and I think that's it. Just to kind of give you guys a little, maybe somebody else can relate to that, maybe not. But it's hard, man. And I really wanted to convey the fact that like this is not easy. You know, those are beautiful words by Dr. Shafali, but this is very difficult. So after that, I came home. I ate a burrito, and I actually ended up taking a nap. I ended up taking a nap, and then I woke up. I meditated, and now I'm here. And I have a couple questions that I would like to kind of throw at you guys that you could use, that I'm absolutely going to use. And I stumbled upon these questions when I did a little research about Burn the Ships, you know, Hernan Cortez and the order that changed the New World. So, retreat is easy when you have the option. So, this was in that article that I read, and I think that is so apparent. Like, you know, just being in recovery and, you know, not wanting to drink, but still going out and putting myself in situations to where I could potentially drink. Um, so setting myself up for failure. Or, gosh, I mean, that's really the only one that I can think of right now off the top of my head, but I'm sure you guys, that's really just a quote that I wanted to say out loud. I wanted you guys to hear, obviously. Um, Retreat is easy when you have the option. We postpone action until we no longer feel fear. Whew. That our actions are faint attempts never designed to succeed. We must learn to act decisively in spite of our fear. I'm going to read that one more time for you guys because it's almost, it's kind of hard to read. It's hard for me to like allow into my heart, just because I have such a difficult time, you know, with fear, and it seems to always be consuming me. And back to that analogy of not even wanting to get out of bed. For me, I don't even want to get out of bed some days because I'm just so consumed by fear of not succeeding. I love that one. You know, faint attempts never designed to succeed. Okay, one more time. We postpone action. We postpone action until we no longer feel fear. That our actions are faint attempts never designed to succeed. We must learn to act decisively in spite of our fear. Wow. We must learn to act decisively in spite of our fear. I love that. So being able to still kind of accept the fact that like I'm in fear, or not in fear, but I have fears, and I still need to be able to learn to act decisively and to still be able to make decisions. So again, like no retreat. I need to succeed. I maybe I'm not going to succeed, or like in the way that I think it's gonna happen. But as long as I never give up, it's gonna happen. I was trying to get sober for 3 years. You know, I drank and drugged for 10, but in those last 3 years before I decided, well, before, you know, life kicked the hell out of me, and I had my moment of clarity, I wanted to stop drinking for 3 years, but I couldn't. And I think it's because I basically just kept doing the same habits that I've been doing, and I expected something outside of myself to change, and I couldn't act decisively in my fear at all. I couldn't. We postponed action. That's for sure. I postponed for years action until we no longer feel fear. I mean that's never. When was I not gonna feel fear? I constantly feel fear. My brain was designed to keep me alive. Just as a result of evolution or creation or whatever you believe in, my brain was designed to keep me alive. So it was designed to look for the things that are fearful in life to keep me alive. So, hands down, can totally relate to that. Let's see, what else do we got? What are the ships we need to burn in life? That's a good one too, because I love like what serves me, what is holding me back, what is pushing me forward, what is sharpening me and honing my character, building me up, and what's bringing me down. I think that's a beautiful one. What makes it hard to burn? So what makes whatever this ship, quote unquote, is in your life, why is it hard to burn? Why did I keep going back to drinking and drugging? Why did I keep going back to toxic relationships? Why? Why was it so hard for me? And I think it's because I didn't know another way. Like for me, it was either I'm going to sink or swim in this boat, man. Like this is it. I don't know another way. And that's just that. And I had to, honestly, I feel like I had to almost burn the ship down with me in it. And by the grace of the God of my understanding, I was saved after the wreckage was over. That's how I feel. That's the analogy that I can really relate to. That definitely instills a lot of gratitude. Fear of the unknown? Question mark. Is it for fear of being perceived as a failure? So these are all amazing questions that you guys can ask yourselves to really narrow down in detail to figure out what are the boats in your life, what are the ships in your life that you need to be rid of. Is it your current job or not have a job? I mean, that's a real fear. For me, I'm still working, and that's a real fear. Going out every day and there's nobody on the freeway, it's an incredibly eerie feeling. And I don't really want to be working. I'd rather be at home, and working on these podcasts and having like more of an outline and be able to invest more time and energy into this so that I'm not kind of bouncing all over, or I have less pauses in my like perfect example right now. I have a little bit more flow instead of pausing so much, or I don't say or and a lot, and I can just have this thing flow. But I'm trying to do the best that I can, and I know that as long as I have progress, not perfection, that's really all that matters, right? That's literally all that matters. So I'm gonna laugh at this one day when I, a couple years from now, and I look back and wow, that was my podcast back then. Episode 11. This is and that. So, anyways, I'm super excited to be here with you guys. Couple more questions, guys, and then we'll wrap it up. Is it our field of employment? A bad business deal? Is it stocks, like things that you've invested in with money? An unrealistic dream? And then dreams and fantasies. Like, what's the difference? I think for me, a dream is something, an unrealistic dream is more of a fantasy. And then a dream is something like that I'm fearful of not living, or that I feel is so far out of reach that I will never be able to grasp it, to feel it, to hold it, to live it. I know being in a healthy relationship was always a long shot for me in my head, right? But I had to learn how to love myself first for anyone else to actually love me. Because why would somebody love someone that they don't even love themselves? That was a hard one for me to understand too in the beginning. I think it's absolutely incredible how beautiful it is to be creative and to dream. And I feel like, of course, we always, sell ourselves short. But for me, I would always have this crazy fantasy of, you know, um, I mean, first of all, I want to fly. Who doesn't? Who doesn't want to fly? Like that would just be dope. Um, but I don't want to have to get up super early for the rest of my life. I want to get up, but I don't want to have to. Like I guess for me it's I want that freedom. I want a financial freedom. I want a physical freedom. I want to age gracefully with my body. I want to be able to be a energetic father and an energetic grandfather. I want to be able to not stress about finances. I want to be able to live fully in each and every moment of my life. And for so long, just that seemed like a fantasy. It seemed like an unrealistic dream because I literally couldn't stop drinking and getting loaded. But now it's a very realistic dream, and I'm actually really excited. If you guys haven't done a dream board, I would highly suggest doing a dream board. My girlfriend and I just got a bunch of magazines. We're gonna do a dream board, and basically it's you get a whatever by whatever, width and height and width and length, and then you go through magazines, you collect magazines of the house that you want, and basically like anything that stands out to you that you want to put on this dream board, you just rip it out or cut it out and you glue it on or tape it on, and then you post it up somewhere where you're going to be looking at it every single day so that you can start to manifest and put those pictures into your mind and start feeling the energy of how it would be to live in fill in the blank. So this was a really good one. I think this is the longest podcast I've done so far. I apologize for the gaps, and I apologize for not being a little bit more prepared. But progress, not perfection. I feel like I kind of had more gaps than information. But nevertheless, I really hope you guys enjoyed Dr. Shafali. Um, Check her out. I'm going to do my best to, on the YouTube video, I'm definitely going to put a link to it and you guys can check it out. But I love you guys. Have an amazing rest of your day. And don't forget to check out my other podcast and go on my website at jeffgonzell.wordpress.com, and that's where you can find the podcasts. That's where you can subscribe to my email list so that any further podcasts that I post or blogs and hopefully in the nearer future gonna have an online course. And I'm also very interested in what you guys would be willing to pay for an online course, what you guys would like, whether it's meditation, yoga, even like longevity, like workout routines, or like longevity, like acai bowls recipes and stuff like that, breath work, and basically what do you guys want? And then I would start putting some time and energy into that, and hopefully creating what it is you guys want to the best of my ability, and what you guys would be willing to pay for something like that. So again, if you could go to my Facebook, Jeff Gonzell. My last name is spelled Gonzell, or Jeff Talks. Jeffrey Talks, I think, is on Facebook. Jeff Talks is on Instagram. But check me out on all the social media, guys, and I would love to hear some feedback. I love you. Having a beautiful day. Beautiful rest of your day, guys. And bye-bye. Okay, that was good.